Mayor de Blasio is responding with an op-ed in the New York Daily News. He writes, more than 2,000 new for-hire vehicles are being added to our streets every month. For perspective, that means we're facing the addition of over 25,000 cars to our streets over the next year, the rough equivalent of 2 times the total number of yellow taxis in all of New York City. No company's multi-billion-dollar political war chest gives it a blank check to skirt vital protections and oversight for New Yorkers. We wouldn't let ExxonMobil or Walmart or any other corporate giant operate in New York without basic rules in place to protect the public, and no number of lobbyists or ad campaigns will change that. And Joe, I guess the counter ad could be you're having a baby and you need to get to the hospital and you're stuck in traffic.
Bill de Blasio's attack on Uber is stunning.
Yeah.
I was a very vocal Uber critic, John Heilman, 6 months ago, and then I did something. I downloaded the app and tried it,
Uber.
and I use it everywhere. Yeah. The car comes to you in a minute. I've got older children in Manhattan.
Me too.
I actually let them use my account because I know that if they are out, let's say they're at a bar, I know they press their Uber button, and I know a car is out front of that bar or out front of that restaurant or out front of that theater in 1 minute. It's just, this is why Americans hate politics, because you finally have something that works, and you've got a politician who's more interested in his big donors and his big support than actually keeping people safe. Is there any question here who's in the right, John?
Well, look,
for New Yorkers that use this service?
Well, look, I'm a huge fan of Uber, and I think accountable drivers, the quality of the experience, all those, the way the rating system works, the rating that goes in both directions between drivers and passengers, all of that I think is great. I actually think there's just a larger issue here, which is that it's not just New York City. This is going to happen everywhere in the country.
Coming to a city
over not just Uber, but over all aspects of the sharing economy. Airbnb is now having these kind of wars where entrenched political interests who take money from unions and take money from large industries are going to fight against these elements of disruptive innovation. And I do think Uber and other things like this are going to become wedge issues in this campaign, where you're going to have to decide, are you on the side of disruptive technology and innovation, or are you on the side of incumbent industries and organized labor? And I think it's going to be a big choice for all politicians who are going to have to decide where they want to be on this. It's a big political issue in the new economy.
But in the sharing economy, there are specifics with Uber and New York City that will affect other cities ultimately as Uber sort of pervades the...
But Uber's everywhere, and this fight is happening in
more cars in the city.
I agree, but it's happening.
They want a year, just a year, to check it out.
This same fight is happening in San Francisco. It's happening in big cities. It's happening in Europe on a very intense scale in places like France for the same reasons. Because there are entrenched interests that are threatened by this kind of innovation.
Your concern is legitimate, Mika, but what John is saying is the real issue. It's economics and money here. It's not. If we were worried about congestion here in the city, even before Uber came, I can tell you the traffic's pretty stiff from 2 o'clock to 6 o'clock trying to get anywhere in the city.
Go for it. Jump in.
No, I was just going to say this is about congestion, just like Bill de Blasio standing in schoolhouse doors trying to keep the poorest New Yorkers from sending their parents to innovative schools is about schools. This is all about politics. And Willie, you've got an innovation that works. And I just don't think this is a battle that Bill de Blasio can win, even though he wants to win it for his unions or wants to win it for his big political donors.
Well, you're right. This one is pretty transparent politics. When you look at who supports Bill de Blasio, it's the taxi industry, and he's protecting them in this case. But for a guy who is progressive, by any definition is progressive, this is a pretty tough stance against progress. This is a good thing. This makes it easier. It makes it safer, as people have said, for people in outer boroughs to get around where they can't find cabs a lot of the time. Uber is progress, and it's a fool's errand to stand in the way at this point.
All right, coming up.